This video was brought to you by Squarespace. Ho, ho, ho! Merry April! Now that these seasonal formalities are out of the way, do you need a website? If you do, but you don't know how to build a website, then you need Squarespace. Squarespace makes building a website ridiculously easy. You pick a template, you tweak a little bit, make it look how you want. Bada bing, bada boom. Flowers in bloom, you got yourself a website. Then after that, everything you need to maintain your website, build content for it, whatever, it's right there, it's easy. Build pages, edit text intuitively, embed videos, images, tweets, whatever you want. You can have your posts automatically pushed to your social media. You can schedule posts for later. And if you need more, Squarespace offers loads of powerful extensions as well as very, very nice analytics, which I love. To try out Squarespace for yourself, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Then when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/Arlo to save 10% off your first website or domain. And now for today's recommendation: metal dishware. Cups, plates, bowls, even straws. They're more environmentally friendly and durable than plastic, and they don't break like ceramic. Yes, your friends will make fun of you and ask if you live in a prison, but who cares? Especially if you live in a house with kids or naughty pets, metal dishware is the way to go. Thanks again to Squarespace. Now, on with the video. Jingle spring, I like Easter eggs. Table? Okay. So the Mario movie's doing, well... It's doing pretty well for itself. Not sure if you heard, but it had the highest opening of any animated movie ever. Absolutely ever in the history of humanity. The record was previously held by Frozen 2, and I don't know if I'm alone here when I say I feel like that really says something. It really says something about, I mean, it's Frozen. It's Frozen. Mario beat it. And Frozen 2 went on to make $1.5 billion total at the box office. So logically, I think it is safe to say that there is at least a chance that the Mario movie could do similar. It would not be out of the question for that movie to be the #1 highest grossing animated movie of all time by the end. It is possible. Could it be the highest? I don't know. Now this movie, it really just had all of the elements needed to be a winner. You know, Mario. We've talked about this before. Mario. It's Mario. The appeal is so broad. Everybody has played Mario at some point. And like Nintendo's overall relevance, you know, like how many units of whatever system they're selling, how many people are actively playing Mario, you know, that's a number that's kind of dipped up and down over the years. But like the knowledge of Mario has only grown. You know, he's like, what is he, like almost 40 years old now? Obviously, there are plenty of older people who have played Mario, but you know, like generally, like video games started as kind of a younger thing, and so like the amount of the population that has been heavily exposed to Mario, that is just growing. Those people are getting older and new ones are being created, and just like the percentage of the population that appreciates Mario on some level only increases. We are mere decades away from full saturation. Full 100% population saturation. So yeah, like, this was always gonna work. You know, like, this was always gonna work. I even made a video about it, and it was probably not like the most bold statement ever to say, I think the Mario movie's gonna do really well, but I made that video. And it's not really worth much to pat myself on the back for being right about this, because again, it's probably obvious, but whatever. I was right, hooray. So yeah, like we knew it would be successful. We knew that even if it was really bad, at the very, very least, it would be a big, big success. But then this movie, it's got that secret sauce that is gonna give it legs. It's not just about having a strong opening weekend, you know, there's gotta be that element that gives it legs and makes it continue to perform well. That's how you really generate lots of money. And this movie, it's got that secret sauce. Tickets are gonna continue to sell. When it's done with its theatrical run, then physical copies are gonna sell, and sequels are all but guaranteed. But what is that secret sauce, you ask? What is that secret sauce? What is that little extra something that means it's a big moneymaker? Well, come here, it's a secret, but I'm gonna whisper it in your ear. It's that it's good. It's that it's good. It's actually good. And like, I don't know I don't know how it took Hollywood so many years to understand something that we all know is obvious. I don't know why it took so many poor adaptations before they experimented with the wild, just bizarre, out there idea of faithfully adapting a game in a way that actually appeals to fans of the game. And also just like, making a movie that's also just good. Like instead of bad, good instead. Novel idea. And it took them so many decades, but now, all of a sudden, we're getting a bunch of great game movies, as though they just had this realization one day. What if we actually make them good? What if we actually try? Now, of course, the Mario movie is a little different. It's almost like a cheat, because Nintendo themselves helped to make it, and that obviously made a very, very big difference. The credits of the movie read like the credits of a Nintendo game, like Shigeru Miyamoto himself spent years on this. He executive produced it. He's right there in the credits. He spent all these years meticulously crafting every little detail just to make sure it's perfect. It had to be perfect. And so the end result was, I'm not gonna say perfect, but as perfect as I can see that they wanted it to be. And that's the amazing thing about this movie. It's that it did something to the rewatchability. It's so ridiculously dense with detail, There's an overwhelming number of references in the movie. It's not a movie that you can just watch once. I mean, obviously, plenty of people watched it once. Plenty of people were disappointed, whatever. But the consensus is that there's so much love in this thing. And even just, even more objectively, even separated from the quality of it, there are just a lot of references. There are a lot. The amount of detail objectively is just humongous. It's perfect for repeat viewings, and there are indeed a lot of people who are seeing it again and again, because you see, this is another element that is currently ensuring the movie's success. Everybody knows that one way to make a lot of money is to target the child audience. Like when kids like something, they obsess over it, and they want to get all the toys, and they want to watch it again and again and again, and then of course the whole idea is that when a kid goes to the theater, someone's got to bring them, and that often means bringing whole entire families, all the kids, everybody, they're all coming, they're all getting tickets, and that's why kids' movies can be such huge moneymakers. But there is another demographic at play here, and it's one that is all too often overlooked. Even after all these years, Hollywood barely understands the existence of this demographic, and that demographic is weird nerds. Weird nerds, like me! People who were once obsessive kids who then grew up to be obsessive adults who like all the same stuff. And this is not a negative thing. Like I said, I'm one of them. We're all weird nerds in some capacity. This is simply who we are, and we are a massive market. A massive one. And this movie appeals to us as well. We're crazy about all the little references. We want to find all of them. Just watching this movie is just such a massive overload of Mario goodness. It's the references, but even just the sheer familiarity factor of seeing these characters that we've played with for years and years, our entire lives, just seeing those all rendered so realistically in such a big, fun visual spectacle up on the big screen. There's just such a novelty to it, It's endlessly rewatchable. It's funny because I do believe that all the references and just the fact that it's Mario, that is a really big amount of my personal enjoyment. So I actually thought that I would not enjoy subsequent watches as much because, most of that novelty is kind of used up and I'd already seen most of the references, I'd caught basically all of them. But I took my nephew to see it a couple weeks later and I still enjoyed the heck out of it. I feel like there were even elements of it that I enjoyed more the second time. So between Mario's overall long-time popularity, the kid factor, and the weird nerd factor, plus Nintendo just doing their absolute darndest and being just really, really closely involved in its creation, this movie is seeing success on the highest level possible. This is probably basically as successful as animated movies can get, And because of it, you can bet doubt that there are going to be sequels. I have no doubt that there are meetings happening and development happening, sequels basically in development right now. You know it. I mean, it is true that Nintendo did take a really long time to do this one. I honestly don't know exactly why. I feel like back in like 2010, when like CG animated kids movies, that had really become a really massive thing. I feel like this movie could have released then. I really see no reason why not. But I do know that it all just comes down to the decisions of the individual people working at Nintendo, and I guess, you know, Miyamoto just wasn't ready. He just wasn't in that headspace yet. The stars hadn't yet aligned, and, you know, Nintendo likes to take it slow and not jump into anything too quickly. Even if it's the best idea in the world, they like to take their time. And you know what? Maybe they just didn't feel confident enough in doing it until they met with Illumination, and, you know, until Miyamoto met with Chris Meledandri, and like maybe it was just Chris who really helped plant the seeds of the project, you know? They just had to meet the right person to say the right words at them and say, hey, look, we can do this, we can help you with it, we want to help you make it perfect, you know? If they weren't in any rush, they were just waiting for that opportunity to come along. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, technically, it could take 10 years to get the sequel or something, because maybe they want to be super meticulous about that too. I really hope not, though. I really hope that this has broken the ice into like making movies, you know, and like with all the people who wrote and planned the movie, and they did such a good job, I really don't see why they couldn't just launch into the next one and all the spin-offs and everything, you know? I mean, like, heck, make that Miyamoto's full-time job. Why not? Just, he's like the movie guy now. I don't know. And like, obviously, there are so many places the story can go. They already teased so much in the movie. They dropped so many little hints, you know, all these little like galaxy-related hints, and you got the post-credit scene, and then just like the very concept of warp pipes leading to different worlds. Like, there you go. Those pipes can lead anywhere. I'm not expecting like movies for every Nintendo property, but like the crossover potential, even if just like jokes and stuff, it's completely limitless. The sky is the limit. The sequels will come. They will come. And right now, like, Nintendo is basically more relevant than ever, you know? Like, maybe since the very beginning, when the NES was just taking over the world and Mario Fever exploding or whatever, very possibly since then, they are the most relevant they've ever been. And like, they've been talking about expanding into other forms of media, and now they have learned that making movies in addition to games is just another way to make mountains and mountains and mountains of money. And you know what? This movie being added to the good video game adaptation pile, it was not really a thing before, but now it's kind of rapidly growing. That just might affect Hollywood's attitude more than ever. Like, I would not be surprised if the next time Hollywood wants to adapt a game, they're gonna walk up to the company that makes the game, and they're gonna be like, hey, so I see you sold us the rights, but like, can you also help us make it and like get like the people who made the original games to like put a bunch of like love and references and stuff and just like make it really accurate and faithful, please? And like, maybe while we're at it, we should like hire someone to write it who actually likes the games and understands the games, and also just someone who knows how to write good movies with good jokes and stuff in them. Maybe, because weird enough, I still don't get it, but weird enough, people seem to like all that, I guess. So yeah, Mario movie, making a lot of money, basically guaranteeing that Nintendo movies are now a thing. Or at the very least, Mario movies are very much a thing. It's making so much money. I don't even want to give a figure, because like by the time like we edit this video and put it out and it gets approved by the sponsor and all that stuff, like the number will not be accurate anymore. But why don't you give an exact prediction of how much the Mario movie will ultimately make at the box office, to the dollar, no, to the cent, down in the comments. And before we go, little known fact, scientists are actually predicting that by the end of the movie's run, the money pile will be visible from space. Amazing. Science is amazing.